There's something irresistible about the mix of fame, power, and scandal. It creates a narrative that's too compelling to ignore. When it comes to one of hip-hop's most iconic figures, Sean Diddy Combs, the combination of criminal charges, wiretaps, leaked audio, and courtroom drama is almost tailor-made for a true crime story.
Audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Holmes, Sean Diddy Combs' son, of sexual assault. The music mogul is not accused of sexual assault in the lawsuit, but is included over allegations of liability and aiding and abetting. The lawsuit cites audio from a makeshift recording studio on the yacht where the alleged assault happened. This is the latest in a series of lawsuits filed against the rap mogul and businessman. Both men, father and son, deny the allegations against them. CNN national correspondent Camila Bernal joining me live with details on this. Camila, what more are you learning?
Hey, Fred. So in this audio that CNN has listened to, you can specifically hear the accuser who alleges that she was being forced to take this tequila shot that she believed was laced with drugs.
Amid mounting courtroom tension, Diddy's legal battle seems to have reached a breaking point. With new audio leaks emerging, the public is left wondering one thing. Has Diddy finally cracked?
Sources indicate that the 55-year-old rapper experienced a meltdown while incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, where he was taken for observation due to mental instability. The music mogul, arrested in September on charges including racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, was reportedly hoping to secure bail by now. Spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him, an insider told The Sun, noting that Combs managed to regain composure through meditation and deep breathing, although it took several hours to calm himself. Contrastingly, another source dismissed the meltdown claim, emphasizing that the father of 7 has remained resilient amidst serious allegations. A legal expert highlighted the significant disparity between Combs' previous lavish lifestyle and his current circumstances, stating the stark contrast.
On the morning of September 16, 2024, Sean Diddy Combs, once considered a giant of the music industry, was arrested on a series of serious charges.
The U.S. Justice Department unsealed charges against Combs on Tuesday that alleged he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Prosecutors said that Combs, that's P. Diddy, that's his real name, carried out his scheme by relying on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Prosecutors say that in times relevant to the indictment, Combs engaged in persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women and other individuals. The abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual.
Charges including racketeering, sexual abuse, and sex trafficking paint a grim picture of alleged abuse and manipulation behind the scenes of the entertainment industry's power corridors.
Sure, so I think we all saw those headlines back in November 2023 of Cassie Ventura filing her lawsuit against P. Diddy. That's what got all of this steamrolling. And I've been following the case since then. And obviously we've seen in recent months there have been so many lawsuits against Diddy accusing him of drugging, and more than 40 of those. And a lot of them do date back to the 90s. So I've been looking into that area of his career in particular, trying to find out more about the makings of P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy, as he was known back then, and trying to find out from people who used to work with him and people in his inner circle, were there potentially early warning signs about some of the allegations that we're seeing now? And as I mentioned, some of these allegations of drugging and assault do go right back to the start of his career in the 1990s.
What's grabbing just as much attention as the case itself is the way information continues to leak out, fueling both suspicion and public intrigue.
We told you from the jump that baby oil was a big thing in the whole Diddy scandal, that the Fed seized 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
And it is the thing that people have talked so much about because it was such a bizarre...
It's so odd. And remember, we spoke with Mark Agnifilo, his lawyer, on one of our documentaries, The Downfall of Diddy, on Tubi. And we asked him about it, and he didn't quite know what to say about it.
He kind of made a joke about it.
He kind of made a joke about it.
Right.
But now we know at least what one one of the accusers in a civil lawsuit,
A brand new accuser.
a brand new one, is saying the purpose of the baby oil, and it's not what we thought.
No, this accuser, who is filed as a John Doe, says that the baby oil was laced.
A newly surfaced audio recording has ignited a social media firestorm. Though not officially verified, the clip allegedly features Diddy, Meek Mill, and Beyoncé discussing the allegations, adding another explosive layer to the scandal.
Beyoncé's audio leak admits participation in Diddy's parties. Are these signs she was involved all along? Recently, an audio recording of Beyoncé was accidentally leaked, revealing that she not only admitted to frequently attending Diddy's parties, but also claimed that those who were harmed weren't entirely innocent. She stated that everyone who attended the parties did so voluntarily, insisting that no one was forced. She even suggested that any harm they suffered was ultimately their own.
It's not just the content of the recording that's shocking, it's the timing. Leaked at such a critical moment in Diddy's legal defense, the audio raises serious questions.
Now, the emergency hospital visit came just hours after federal prosecutors slapped him with a superseding indictment in his federal sex trafficking RICO case, adding 2 more victims and extending the time period for investigators from 2008 going back to 2004, meaning they have 4 more years in order to continue investigating possible additional allegations. Now, all of this taking place, as it seems every week, there's another docuseries or documentary being cranked out about Diddy, which criminal defense attorneys who try cases in the Southern District here at the federal courthouse tell me can possibly taint potential juries that are going to hear this case when it gets going in May. Now, he will be back in the criminal case here in this courthouse in about 2 weeks.
Could this latest leak be the crack that finally shatters the carefully curated facade of hip-hop's most powerful mogul?
P. Diddy leaves the Metropolitan Detention Center jail in Brooklyn. New reports say he was taken to the hospital for a few hours last week to get an MRI. We're just now learning about this, though, because Diddy was taken from the jail late at night, actually using the cover of darkness to keep his trip on the down low.
This unfolding case has quickly become one of the most gripping true crime sagas in recent memory. Sean Diddy Combs now finds himself at the center of a scandal that challenges the limits of celebrity influence and power.
The lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs continues to stack up, and it should be no surprise at all who the latest batch is coming from. That, of course, being Texas-based attorney Tony Buzbee. Now, Buzbee made his mission clear back in October that his firm plans to file more than 100 lawsuits against the disgraced mogul. But now he's in a rush to meet a March 1st deadline. Why? Because that's the last day the law in New York allows victims of past sexual assault file civil lawsuits despite the statute of limitations being up. So let's break down the latest allegations. Now, we have to mention these accusers did not use their real names in the court filings. Instead, they are referred to as Jane or John Doe. In John Doe's complaint, he alleges he was drugged and sexually assaulted at an after-party in Los Angeles in 2015.
Inside Manhattan's federal court, the unfolding drama has taken on a cinematic quality. Each new revelation deepens the mystery surrounding Diddy's legal troubles and his once untouchable legacy.
Let's continue our attention to a major headline taking place in New York City and the pretrial hearing continuing on in this Sean Diddy Combs case. A pretrial hearing taking place some 138 days before trial. Let's be joined right now here on the ground in New York by Fox 5's Lisa Evers. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about what took place inside that courtroom today?
Well, Andy, everything so far is going very smoothly, but you can be sure that's going to change in the months ahead as they get close to that May trial date. But Sean Diddy Combs got a break today from the dismal lockdown atmosphere of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn by appearing here in federal court for this pretrial hearing.
Though no conviction has been reached, the sheer intensity of the allegations, some stretching back over 2 decades, appears to be taking a visible toll on Diddy's composure.
Right, so Sean Combs' legal team has just raised, I would say, a new issue, sort of new issue to the court, and we're going to address it right now. And it concerns, of all things, believe it or not, access to a laptop while he's in the Metropolitan Detention Center, the MDC, where he's currently locked up while he's waiting trial next year. And before I even go into the defense's letter, I said it was new, but really, this is an issue that has come up before. You see, Sean Combs' defense lawyers, they have argued that the conditions at the MDC make it incredibly difficult for him to properly review evidence in the case and prepare for trial. And yes, He has a constitutional right to prepare for his trial. But they have been arguing for quite some time that because of the incredible amount of material in this case, you really can't do it without a laptop. He needs a laptop to review everything. I mean, this is a massive case.
Legal experts say that high-stakes courtroom proceedings can push even seasoned celebrities to emotional breaking points, affecting public perception and introducing unpredictability. The most recent indictment includes 3 counts of trafficking and exploiting at least 3 women, casting a long shadow over Diddy's career.
Other artists and executives at the label would request for women across the states to be flown into the studio for sex.
And it wasn't uncommon to fly women in from around the country. Well, not around the country, but they could be like a 2-3 hour flight away type of thing. To have sex with people in the studio.
Prosecutors allege that through his entertainment empire, including Bad Boy Records, Diddy orchestrated what are being called freak-offs, recorded sexual encounters involving the exploitation of women, allegedly facilitated by male sex workers.
Defendant Sean Combs, a prominent entertainment mogul, exploited his power to sexually, physically, and psychologically abuse plaintiff over more than 5 harrowing years. Combs caused plaintiff's life to spiral into a living nightmare.
Additional claims suggest Diddy used a mix of illicit substances, including cocaine, ecstasy, methamphetamine, and psychedelic mushrooms, to manipulate his victims, luring them with promises of career advancement and financial security.
First piece that we almost always see in pink or pink cocaine is ketamine, a dissociative drug, something that makes people feel like they're detached from reality. The second component is a psychedelic.
Bill Bodner is a former DEA agent. He says despite its name, oftentimes there is no cocaine in the toxic mix of drugs, which include synthetics like ecstasy, methamphetamine, and benzodiazepines. The drug, also known as 2C, acts as both a stimulant and a depressant.
Very, very cheap to make, and they can kind of tailor the drug to what the drug user is looking for, the perceived effects that the drug user is looking for.
Contrast between Diddy's once untouchable persona and the severity of these allegations has turned the trial into a media spectacle. Once the epitome of cool and control, he now appears visibly shaken, his responses laced with raw emotion under the weight of the accusations.
Well, I'll tell you that yesterday in court, Sean Diddy Combs showed up smiling. His whole, well, not his whole family, his children, all of his children and his mother who traveled from Florida were there. Oftentimes he would turn around and look at them at the end of the hearing. He was blowing kisses at them and saying thank you. He was comforted by his attorneys. It was odd to see him smile so much. It seemed like he was optimistic, and many of us were wondering whether he would be bailed out, but there is still a bail appeal pending in his case after a judge had rejected a $50 million bail package.
Some legal insiders speculate that Diddy's emotional unraveling may be a calculated defense strategy aimed at gaining public sympathy. Others believe it's a genuine reflection of the personal toll the charges have taken on him.
I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible.